Bro, the price of fame is too expensive.
The transformations of all these celebrities are even worse, especially since they made some kind of deal with him. It's insane. How is no one noticing all these changes? Let's talk about their hands, because something is seriously off. Take a good look at Khloe Kardashian's hands in 2008. Nothing weird going on there. But if you look at her hands today, something is clearly not right. Like, how did her hands go from that to whatever that creepy thing is now? Luckily for us, the media is obsessed with celebrity jewelry, so it's pretty easy to find a bunch of pictures of Khloe's hands from before 2025, and those clearly show that something has changed. But she's not the only one. You can clearly see the same thing happening to Dustin's girl. That's what she and her hands looked like a few years ago. And now, same story. Something strange has changed them. It's like all their hands come with their own before and after versions. But the craziest case of all has to be Cynthia Erivo. Just take a close look at her hands here. No one's ever seen hands that long. And yet, when you look at her hands from before, everything looked normal. But a few years later, her hands changed too. And we've noticed something huge with all these transformations. It only ever happens to women. And it always happens right when their popularity suddenly explodes.
So if that only happens to women, what happens to the men?
Footage is missing 1 minute. How convenient. Epstein case? Closed. Client list? Gone.
Something weird is going on around the world this week with the weather. In Guizhou, China, floodwaters surged over 837 feet, swallowing up neighborhoods and roads. Experts are saying that this is a once-in-a-50-year flood, and locals are saying they've never seen anything like this in their life. In Alabama today, an absolutely massive weather phenomenon appeared and then disappeared over Birmingham. Experts are saying that this could be a meteor or it was a radar glitch.
A radar glitch? Bro, the gaslighting is on 100 today.
And I know y'all done had this before, right? We're supposed to be, right? The best tuna, chicken of the sea, right? If it's tuna, why do we have a mermaid on it? Now, and I would show you some videos of people talking about this, referring that the tuna is really this meat right here. But my last video that I just did with the kid that seen the cobia meat, you know what I'm saying? That got disqualified because I showed somebody else's picture. So that's why I don't show y'all videos. But if you know, you know, do your research. Look up some shit. Dig in. You'll be surprised what you find out. This chicken of the sea, though, they say that this right here is the chicken. This right here is the tuna. This is why this right here is such a popular subject right now, because the truth shall set you free. Have a good day. I love y'all. Enjoy your chicken of the sea. Peace!
Remove this shit from the itinerary right now. What do you mean the shark got into the cage with the swimmer? I don't even know if I want to watch this.
Go.
Was there anybody in there? Who's in the cage? Nobody's in the cage.
Somebody's in the cage.
Somebody in the cage? Yes, somebody's in the cage. Somebody's in the cage. Oh my God. No, it has to be Ming. It's Ming. Oh my gosh, it's okay. Jeez. Are you okay? Are you hurt?
Honestly, he not hurt. And that's the problem. If he would have lost an arm, he would have learned the next time what I'm talking about. No, he wouldn't.
We might just be cooked, because now we have underwater ocean currents, the ones that control the climate change. Yeah, they're reversing. This is probably the source of the reason of why we seeing these crazy storms happen everywhere. So the flood that just happened in New Mexico, the one that happened in Dallas, North Carolina, Central Texas, and some other places, is starting to see crazy climate effects. We've got polar bears that's off the coast of California that most likely drifted down there off an iceberg that melted from Antarctica. Remember watching 2012, and the whole entire reason that all of this stuff happened was because of the ocean currents had changed. And we also seen the shortest days in history because the earth is now spinning faster. Also, simultaneously, the earth's inner core just decided that it want to rotate backward. Y'all get y'all life right with God, bro. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, bro. I don't know what's gonna happen next. And it's getting crazy. Y'all let me know in the comments on what y'all think about these underwater currents deciding to reverse in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. If you want to learn how to monetize your social media and get paid to make content like this, comment down below Hub and I'm sending resources in your DM. It's getting crazy!
O.J. Simpson, the night of the murders, where did he eat? Him and his wife at a restaurant in Brentwood, not dinner. Mezzaluna. Luna is moon. Yes. So they do these rituals. If you do all the names for the trial, so you know the number 33, the 33 fallen angels, you'll see 33 everywhere. O.J. Simpson did a movie, Naked Gun, 33 and a third. He had to pay $33 million in the civil case. And then when he got, remember the Vegas robbery? I don't know if that was all fake. He got 33 years in prison. That's showing you the number 33 is the number one number.
Got a secret, can you keep it? Swear this one you save. Better lock it in your pocket. Taking this one to the grave.
I don't think the ancient Egyptians built those pyramids. That's why we can't explain them. I believe that black magic was involved, or that those pyramids were built before humanity even existed. I believe that the jinn, we know that the demonic realm had cities on this earth. We know that, that's a fact in Islam. We know that they have their own cities. We know that they had civilization way before us. And we also know that they fought each other, human beings fight each other. And we know that the devil was the best of them, which is why he was elevated to the status of an angel, to the rank of an angel. He wasn't an angel. That's why he had free will. Angels have a form of free will, but it's not the same. Like, they don't have the capacity to not obey God, basically. They don't have, I think what it means is I don't think they have desire. Like, we have free will, but we have desires. And those desires can override sometimes. Like, our emotion is so powerful that, you know, we might not do, like, we know this sin will lead me to hell, but for some reason, like, we know, okay, this is wrong, and somehow we still fall down because of desire, because of emotion. So it's not that angels don't have free will, but not the same way human beings do. The demonic realm has free will, and they were created before us, and they had cities, and we know that they used to fight each other. And we also know there was another species before them, but we know nothing about that species. We just know its name in Islam. So we know the jinn with a J, and then we know the bin with a B, but we know nothing about them. But for some reason, God seems to use this planet over and over again for species. It's almost like his petri dish, is what I'm starting to believe. It's like some kind of simulation that God created to test his creation.
Apparently this week, there was very erratic data at the super volcano of Yellowstone.
So I don't want to scare anyone or cause a mass panic right now, but we need to talk about Yellowstone. This is a seismograph, and this measures the vibrations in the Earth's surface. This was taken from Yellowstone on June 1st, and this is what it normally looks like. We have tiny little ticks running all the time, and those are just little micro tremors in the ground. But on June 20th, some weird activity started happening, and just wait for it. This is today, July 3rd. Let me just play it back for you. This is what it should look like, and this is what it looks like today. Now, unless you live under a rock, you know that Yellowstone is a supervolcano. According to researchers, it erupts around every 600,000 years, and you guessed it, we're at 640,000 years right now.
What would happen to the world if the Yellowstone volcano erupted? Most people don't know that there is a supervolcano beneath this lake, which is in Yellowstone Park, which is located in Wyoming, which is in the US. The Yellowstone volcano is absolutely massive, as it's 37 miles long, 18 miles wide, and 4 miles deep. So if it were to erupt, the surrounding states of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming that are closest to Yellowstone would be affected by pyroclastic flows, while other places in the United States would be impacted by falling ash. The amount of ash would decrease with distance from the eruption site, and due to the smoke emitted into the atmosphere, a lot of sunlight would end up reflecting back into space. This means that the entire Earth would cool by at least 10 degrees for at least 10 years.
Is that what the summer freeze is all about?
Is it just me, or does everyone else see that something is drastically and dramatically off with what is going on with all of these flash floods? Currently, Davenport, Iowa is underwater due to more flash flooding. You heard what I said. Davenport, Iowa is underwater due to flash floodings. Take a look at some of these dramatic videos coming out of Davenport. Watch this.
It's a fossil of
Look at the road.
Girl, that is so
Look at
scary.
This. Porta potties just walking down the street. This is Davenport, Iowa. Look at this.
Look in front of you, man.
The radar, like many of these storms in the past week in the United States, just exploded over Davenport, Iowa. Image after image and video after video, mimicking what happened all over the United States in the past week. Vehicles buried in water. 6.35 inches. That fast. Something is not adding up here. If you're in the Davenport area, prayers to you. Hopefully you're safe and you're not caught up in one of these flash floods. This is just getting out of control. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
If you have one of these in your home, then you need to know this new chilling theory. TikTokers have claimed these new viral furry labubus carry demonic energy, rumoured to be inspired by the demon Pazuzu. But Hotmart insists they're based on a children's book. Labubu owners have now taken to blessing their dolls with holy water to banish any evil the new toys may hold.
Y'all must have never realized this because you guys keep encouraging it. I'm gonna show y'all what the music industry does to child stars like Olivia Rodrigo the moment they turn 18. So most of y'all probably know that Olivia Rodrigo got her start in High School Musical, the series. Try saying that. In fact, she was 16 years old when they started filming. So let's go over how she went from this to this, and this is one of the nice photos. Disclaimer, this video is not only about Olivia Rodrigo. So when it comes to Olivia Rodrigo, the first step was obviously her turning 18, where in her first photo shoot after turning 18, they started dressing her like this, which led to jesters and outfits that are much worse than this one. Again, she is not the only one. Now, we know how Hollywood and certain actors have used the industry to, let's say, misuse women. And to think that we've gotten all the bad people and that this is not part of that same ideology, you're crazy. So as a parent to a young child, how do you support things like this by listening to the music and going to the concerts?
A lot of people will say, well, God said he'd never destroy the earth by water. That's right. He said he would never destroy the earth by water. This is not destroying all flesh. In fact, he said he wouldn't destroy all flesh.
Right.
Nor destroy the earth by water. This is not what that is. Right. So we're going to have the flooding event. Pastor Paul, and that's all is probably why some of the complex mechanisms in this, when you go into the ocean, just about every single month, They're finding playgrounds. They're finding, this is at the ocean floor, right? On the ocean floor, can you imagine park benches?
What are you talking about?
In the ocean.
Wait, park
These
benches.
are lost cities on the ocean floor. Lost cities.
Lost civilization.
Park benches. Now, we're talking about from a long time ago.
Yeah.
They look like playgrounds of today, complete with steps that go up to the little thing that people can slide down or whatever.
Who would have thought that in 2025 entire subway stations would be underwater? Well, a few of us actually. But like usual, just wait till you see what I found. And dinosaurs coming too? Hold on. By the way, did you know yesterday in Texas they opened a dam for the first time in 6 years and the landscape in people's backyards looked like this? Now meanwhile, there's people going through that and that as we speak, still in Kerrsville and surrounding areas looking for people to rescue, navigating through dangerous waters and dangerous snakes and all that stuff. And we're not even talking about the possible hurricane that might be heading towards Texas in a few days. By the way, where are all the people that kept telling us this weather was normal and it happens every single year? Oh. I want to show you all this right quick. This is a video from Jesse Lynn over on Twitter. These are all flood warnings going on right now in the last few days, and this list never ends. Fast forward. You get it. It doesn't end. Now we know the flooding last night was in New York and New Jersey, right? Completely unrelated, 1000% not relevant whatsoever. Check out this air pollution map right here. Where do you notice has the worst air pollution? And also that's down there in Mexico, right? This was down here in Mexico last night going into today. And yes, we know that New Jersey, New York generally has bad air quality, but it's way off from the average. In Mexico. Wonder why? Oh, and in other news, at the same time with Jurassic World Rebirth coming out, perfectly preserved dinosaur embryo found inside an ancient egg. I think they mean dragon, but you get the point. Actually, should I show you what I decoded in one of the Jurassic Park movies? Let me know below. It's very crazy. Biblical even.
I ain't gonna lie. Don't it look like it's some They Clone Tyrone shit going on in them motherfuckers? First of all, they motherfucker abandoned, allegedly. And then, like, it don't got the regular boards on it. And look at the door. Look at the door. That motherfucker like a vault door for real, gang. Nah, bro, it gotta be something up under here, fool. Look at that hill and shit, cuz, fool. Like, I know I'm not tripping, fool. My mama could, fool. For real, fool. There's some shit going on. And we're in the middle of the trenches. Like, oh, God. We're in the middle of the fucking trenches. Like, what the fuck? Hey, 5,000 likes when I'm going in there, motherfucker.
These are the floods from Indonesia today, flooding from Nepal yesterday, floods in Arkansas today, New Mexico yesterday, historic flooding in New Zealand last week, flash floods in Oklahoma today, Texas just a few days ago. Bangladesh is getting hammered with floods as well. There was a sudden storm that flooded Split.
Let's have a look at what this NASA plane was doing over the GTA. This is a very similar pattern to what a NASA plane was doing over parts of Texas not too long ago, coincidentally before certain type of events. Now, what do you think they're doing here? What sort of data could they be collecting? What sort of chemicals could they be spraying? Maybe have a watch for these areas the next little while. Peace and love.
But there are some wicked, vile people in our government also, and always have been. And there's spiritual warfare in high places, including in the U.S. government. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 25, shepherd divideth the sheep from the goats. Set the sheep on the right hand, but the goats on the left. Many of these New World Order type clubs have the upside-down 5-pointed star as their symbol. Very interesting. That's the symbol, the satanic symbol, representing the goat's head, the 2 horns, the ears, and the mouth coming down, the 5-pointed star upside down. Satan worshippers all across America use this symbol freely in lots of their things, have the upside-down 5-pointed star. Very interesting to note that Washington, D.C. was laid out this way. Here's one of the original maps of Washington, D.C. Notice the upside-down 5-pointed star. You ever wonder why the streets go so crazy in Washington, D.C.? Why not just right angles like every other town, you know? Why does Pennsylvania Avenue go at such a weird angle? Well, it just so happens that the very bottom of the upside-down 5-pointed star is the White House. They've got loads of these things, these secret things going on that the average person is never going to catch. 1933, Vice President Henry Wallace, who was an occultist, worshipped into the occult, decided to put the Great Seal on the $1 bill. Here's a picture of the Great Seal, the all-seeing eye. Now, I take a lot of flack for this. People have argued for centuries, or for decades, what this symbol represents. Let me tell you one of the theories, all right? The eye on top represents Lucifer, the all-seeing eye. There's a gap between the eye and the pyramid, symbolizing their job of accomplishing a new world order is not quite done yet. Lucifer has not yet been installed as the chief cornerstone. Now, see, Jesus Christ is actually going to be the chief cornerstone, but Lucifer wants to, he wants that job. There are 13 rows of stones. Very interesting. There were 13 degrees in the blue lodges of the Masonic Lodge. Behind the pyramid on the dollar bill, you will notice there's nothing, desert. In front of the pyramid, you got things growing, some bushes and grass and things like that. This symbolizes that they think they will bring the world out of this desert, terrible times into a wonderful, lush Garden of Eden type of thing. On the bottom is a date in Roman numerals. Anybody know that date on there? Bottom of the $1 of the pyramid? 1776 in Roman numerals. 1776 is, of course, a famous date in America, but it's also the date the Illuminati was started. A guy named Adam Weishaupt started a group called the Illuminati, the Enlightened Ones. That'd be a good quiz question there, Becky. Adam Weishaupt started a group called the Illuminati. They had secret meetings to decide how to control the world. Their group was exposed, and they went underground. It has resurfaced numerous times, and this, of course, the individual players die off, but the cause continues. And they still have their plans for the one world government, New World Order. 1933, the first Humanist Manifesto was signed. One of the signers of this was a guy named John Dewey. John Dewey is the father of our educational system here in America. John Dewey was in Vermont at a teacher's college. He was a humanist. He wanted, he claimed to be an atheist, and he said, I'm going to take over the teacher's college, worked his way until he became the top, and then he influenced all the people coming through that teacher's college, which later went out and became presidents of other teachers' colleges. And John Dewey had just an incredible impact on our educational system, leading it toward socialism, communism, New World Order type stuff, which is where we are now.
1400 years ago, the Quran told the story of Pharaoh who chased Prophet Musa, Moses. It said that when Pharaoh drowned, Allah told him, "Today we will save your body so you can be a sign for people who come after you." But back then, no one knew that Pharaoh's body still existed. 1300 years later, in 1881, something shocking happened. People discovered 50 mummies of old Egyptian kings, including Ramses II. The pharaoh many thinks chased Moses. Fast forward to 1970s, a French doctor named Maurice Bucaille studied this mummy. He found traces of salt inside the body, proving the pharaoh died by drowning. The body was preserved unusually well despite dying in water. This matched exactly with the Quran's statement that Allah saved his body as a sign for future generations. Dr. Bucaille became curious. How did the Quran know about Pharaoh's preserved body, revealed over 1,400 years ago, when the mummy was only found in 1881? He began comparing modern science with what the Quran says, and also studied the Bible side by side. He found that the Quran was amazingly accurate on scientific facts. Dr. Bucaille concluded, the Quran could not have been written by any human being. He accepted Islam. Now think about this. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, never went to Egypt, never saw the pyramids or the mummies. But Allah told him their story in the Quran, and that's how people came to know about it. Hundreds of years later, people found these things exactly as the Quran described. This shows clearly that Muhammad, peace be upon him, was truly a messenger of Allah, and the Quran is really Allah's word.
They don't even believe in God, but somehow they believe that the God that they don't believe in promised them that land. It's the most contradictory way of thinking that you can find. Somehow, God, who doesn't exist, promised us this land. We're his chosen people, even though he's not real. Zionism is an atheistic movement, and if you analyze the people that quote-unquote took care of the temple at the time, it was a very similar sentiment. They didn't believe in Akhirah, they didn't believe in the hereafter. They benefited directly from the corruption by being the keepers of the temple that was actually under occupation.
Please tell me how in the world New Jersey is under a state of emergency because flood warnings. New Jersey. People who actually live in New Jersey are saying they've never seen anything like this in their life as long as they've been there. And of course, you know that's not all, but we'll get to it. Because we have some extremely weird things happening in Florida. Parts of New York City are flooding as well, as we've had 6 major earthquakes happen just today alone. And without missing a beat, they're already warning about the undersea volcano the size of a city about to erupt. And of course, the hundreds of earthquakes at Mount Rainier. But all these videos you're seeing about Yellowstone are fake. We're about to get to the crazy part, trust me. So don't tell me in the comments the animals are leaving Yellowstone. This video with the bears was South Dakota. The Florida cat video was Russia. When people post knowingly fake stuff, it makes it hard for us to find the truth. So this is Florida today, right? What are the chances this insane storm comes through and just a couple days before 3 radars went offline right there? And then after that, it literally blew up into this giant crazy looking thing. What about that timing? Literally 24 hours, I believe, the radars were down, and this crazy storm comes, which is going to be responsible for the storm in the Gulf. This one. I mean, really, what if that did happen after all the flooding they just had? I cannot believe I'm still covering flooding and hurricanes have not even came yet. I'll get y'all caught up on everything else tomorrow.
After about 200 years, a bloodline will just die out because they're infertile from so much inbreeding. And so they would just take a cadet family, one of the other branches, and they plug them in. And so it was the same bloodline, but if you look at the Habsburgs, they all have strawberry blonde hair. It's reddish blonde. And there's a Pope, Orsini, who had reddish blonde hair, and I think he was involved in the Habsburg line. Another one is Bill Clinton's mother, who was the illegitimate child of Winthrop Rockefeller, who was governor of Arkansas. That's why Clinton was president, and now Hillary Clinton. She's actually, her middle name was Rodham. I looked it up, and it was shortened from Rodonsky, and she's from a Jewish family in Rodonsky, Poland. They keep rebreeding the ancient stock, the chi in Italian, like Medici, yeah, chi means the stock, the bloodline you're from, or the tribe. It means DNA is what it means, and it's always through the female.
They didn't come from distant galaxies, they fell from heaven. What the world now calls aliens are the same beings ancient texts called gods and the Bible calls fallen angels. Their names change, their symbols evolve, but their mission has never shifted: to deceive, to dominate, to be worshipped. They want you looking to the stars, chasing false lights, gods who never made you, while they bury the past right beneath your feet. ISIS was not just a terrorist group, it was a smokescreen, a convenient cover for the destruction of ancient relics, temples, and sites that held knowledge predating the Abrahamic traditions, predating empire. They filmed themselves smashing statues and burning libraries under the guise of religious zealotry. But the real goal? Erase the evidence. Shatter the last remaining links to the truth of humanity's origin, to the gods we once knew, and the ones who ruled over us. Is it any wonder that mankind's earliest civilizations, Mesopotamia, Assyria, Babylon, the Levant, are now perpetual war zones? Places so volatile that legitimate archaeological digs are impossible? Every bombed-out ruin, every toppled ziggurat is another layer of truth buried in dust. The war isn't just for oil or land. It's for memory. It's for history. The fallen know that if we remember who we were, we might remember who they are. Long ago they descended from the heavens. The Anunnaki in Sumer, the Watchers in Enoch, the sons of God in Genesis chapter 6. They brought forbidden knowledge. They altered human DNA. They taught war, enchantment, and astrology. And they demanded blood in return. When God flooded the earth, it was not just to punish mankind. It was to erase the corrupted kingdoms of these beings. But they never left. They simply changed tactics. Throughout history they ruled through thrones and temples. They gave kings their crowns. They built religions in their image, and their most enduring stronghold, the Catholic Church, a system cloaked in holiness, yet filled with the architecture and rites of Babylon. The pine cone, symbol of spiritual control, rests in the Vatican courtyard. The papal staff bears it. The mitre worn by every pope mimics the head of Dagon, the Philistine fish god. This is not the church Christ founded. It is a replacement, a spiritual empire designed to mimic Christ and lead millions away from the truth.
When I say the rocks were alive, I meant the rocks were alive. Do you really think this is just coincidence? Do you really think this is just some pareidolia? We're not just seeing faces here. A whole lot more than just faces. A coincidence is going to the market and seeing your friend there at the same time. Pareidolia is seeing faces in clouds. This isn't seeing faces in clouds. Just think of where all that pink Himalayan salt comes from. Now people say that's not how fossilization works, or we got carbon dating, but how accurate is it? You know they lie to us about everything. Just look at some of this petrification. Some of these artifacts that have no explanation. Petrification and fossilization takes a lot shorter than they tell us. And in the right scenario, like one big, massive cataclysmic event, you have a perfect petri dish for what you see here. Geology, that is nothing more than hardened biology. Question everything, friends, especially the pink Himalayan salt. Until next time, friends.
Historic flooding is happening across the U.S., and it's not just a few isolated storms. In just the first half of July, devastating flooding has swept through over a dozen states, and it's becoming a full-blown national event. Texas saw rivers rise over 26 feet in under an hour, wiping out entire towns. New Mexico was hit with walls of water that destroyed homes and took lives. Chicago experienced a 1 in 500-year flood. North Carolina got more than 10 inches of rain in a single day. New Jersey declared a state of emergency. And now we're seeing major flood damage in Florida, Oklahoma, Iowa, West Virginia, Rockford, New York, Nevada, and Boston. Some areas were hit with 7+ inches of rain in just hours. Roads disappeared. Neighborhoods turned into rivers. Cities were underwater before warnings could even go out. And it's not just the rain. It's the scale, the frequency, the speed. This isn't normal for July, or any time of year. Even veteran weather watchers are saying they've never seen anything like this. So what's behind it? Maybe it's just the moisture in the air, or maybe it's something bigger. Storms seem to be holding more water, moving slower, hitting harder, and flooding places that were never considered flood zones before. Whatever it is, one thing's clear. This is not business as usual, and we're only halfway through the month.
Altion Jurek, best known as Altion Childs, is an Australian performer who topped the charts after winning the second season of X Factor Australia in 2010. On April 15th of this year, Altion published a 5-hour video claiming he was initiated into the Freemasons, and that Freemasonry is hiding the true world religion, Satanism. He goes on to reveal how every initiate must swear a vow of secrecy to never reveal the secrets of Freemasonry to anyone whatsoever, under penalty of having their body severed in two and their bowels burned to ashes, their throat slit, and their tongue torn out by the roots.
This is the sign you do upon entering and exiting the ritual room while facing the Grand Master. It stands for throat slit, and it goes like this.
They use symbolic gestures to flaunt their secret religion, such as the sign of the Master of the Second Veil, or the hidden hand, the sign of silence, As you move up the ranks of Freemasonry, the oaths of silence for taking each degree become more brutal, having your heart torn out and fed to wild beasts, your head struck off and placed on the highest spire of Christendom, destroying your business and reputation, and hanging you in your own home. Masonic rules clearly stipulate that the Lodge has the authority and obligation to uphold these mandates and penalize any member who violates them. Masonic rules also warn members from inviting the vulgar and profane. The profane is what they call the uninitiated, anyone outside their secret order. As one climbs the ladder of power in Freemasonry, each degree requires more barbaric acts from the initiate. From being humiliated and stepped on, drinking wine from a human skull, stabbing human skulls. And in one of the highest degrees, the initiate removes a blindfold to find a severed human head lying on the floor with a bloody knife beside it. He is instructed to take the knife in his right hand and the head in his left. Eventually, this leads the initiate to accept human sacrifice as a rite of initiation, which is the ultimate goal of this unholy hierarchy. 33rd degree Mason Manly P. Hall, who was named Freemason of the Century, wrote that Freemasonry is a religion and that initiates are intentionally misled until they reach the highest levels. He wrote that Freemasonry is an outer organization concealing an inner brotherhood, one visible and one invisible. The invisible is dedicated to the service of a mysterious arcanum arcanorum.
Oh my God. Holy crap, dude.
One train next up 34th Street, Penn Station, Bank Medical and Oakland.
Io tengo che tira questo. We're the survivors. Oh man.
Evil, whatever you want to call it. It's intelligent. It's smart. And it's invisible. It doesn't have a color. It doesn't have a race. It doesn't have a religion. It has no politics. It's an invisible snake that while it is planning to make its attack, it is thinking to itself, I am going to divide my enemy into smaller, less strong groups, and then I'm going to make them hate each other so that it's easier to take them down.
Sure, I'll go check it out, and I'll bring you all with. So let's go to Chandler, Arizona. I'm sure we're gonna find more overlooked repetitive symbolism. Here we are in Chandler, Arizona, at Tumbleweed Park. And you say it's located behind the tennis courts? Then I can only assume this is the piece of artwork you're referring to. You're absolutely right. The art piece itself is strange, and the location of it is even stranger. This is the Wall of Waves, also known as the aluminum French fries. I see the waves in the wall. However, I've never seen a French fry that has what looks like the tail of a snake, or wavy like the slither of a snake. Crossing through a wall with waves, perhaps to and from the astral plane. It definitely fits with all the other symbolism. Not far away you have this, which is Atlas Obscura, which is travel to unique and unusual destinations. With that being said, I think it's fair to say that this is meant to represent a globe with ley lines or portals. Not far from that you have two buildings named after Alexander Jonathan Chandler, And obviously Chandler was named after him. And considering there's a statue of him next to a statue of Frank Lloyd Wright, we can definitely assume affiliation. You don't have things named after you unless you're part of the club. The same club that displays repetitive symbolism such as pyramids. And this one here is special because it sits at the base of a narrow body of water. Having a pyramid at the base of a narrow body of water is just as significant of having an obelisk at the base of a narrow body of water. Narrow body of water, obelisk and pyramid. I haven't been able to find information on this. Once I do, I might make another video because I saw other things as well. And thank you for sharing this one. Those of us with pattern recognition know the significance of all the artwork. I enjoy covering these topics. Unfortunately, we get people in the comments sometimes who think these discussions are silly. However, those same people are the type that like to go out and drink and gossip about whichever one of their friends isn't present.
We were all brainwashed by mainstream media to love Israel and honestly to hate all Muslims. And Muslims were no good terrorists who were bothering Israel. And the Muslims were no good terrorists attacking Israel. The Muslims had to be wiped out. The Muslims were dark and violent and savage because beautiful Israel needed their protection from them, right? And so, but now, this is why Israel tried so hard to ban TikTok. And there's many politicians on the record talking about it because it wasn't China. The problem was with TikTok, it wasn't China, it was Israel. Because you were seeing Israel slaughtering kids day in and day out. And it's turned people against Israel en masse, which it should.
The Prophet Muhammad said, if you ever enter a home and you see a snake inside your house, before you kill the snake, you know, like to get it out, open the door of the house and warn the snake 3 times. If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you. If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you. If you don't leave, I'm going to kill you. Because it could be a jinn that is in that snake. They shapeshift. This goes back to the whole alien thing. You understand?
Yeah.
But she's singing about that. And in the video, you see shapeshifting. You see her zap the guy with magic. She's singing about magic. We know that magic is forbidden in the Abrahamic faiths. During Babylon, God sent 2 angels to test humanity. And they taught man at the price of selling the hereafter. Because he says, we taught man that which they should not learn. But if they were willing to trade their eternity for it, they were given knowledge that could be used to cause divorce and do all kinds of other crazy shit. And the occult is all about that, bro. It goes back to the time of Solomon. He found out what was going on. They were making manuscripts. He rounded up all the manuscripts, and supposedly, legend has it, he buried under what is today the Temple Mount. And when the Knights of Templar came, supposedly they found those manuscripts, which gave them the knowledge that they have to create everything that we have today. The banking system, everything came from that, supposedly. Again, this is, what I'm studying and what people believe, scholars of history and theology.
Right.
But it all goes back to Solomon, bro. Peace be upon him, one of the most important prophets to ever live. He had dominion over the dimension of light and the dimension of darkness. If you're suffering from the things I explained, research the evil eye. All you need is water that is charged with the words of God to cleanse yourself, make intention, pray to God directly. You can remove it from you by His grace. There's shit that goes on that most of us don't understand. Haunted houses, this, that. There is another world that is alive on this planet in a different dimension. I believe human beings have gotten to the point where not only do they work with them, they worship these beings. I believe the ancient Egyptians used to worship them. That's maybe how they built those pyramids. Solomon used them. And I believe that they figured a way to come into this dimension, and they still have their powers when they do. So you're going to see aliens, folks. It ain't aliens. There's demons here to convince you that God doesn't exist. If we see them, we might not. But if that happens, I promise you it ain't the aliens you're seeing in movies.
So what'd you think of this video? Did you love it or did you love it? Leave it in the comments and tell me. Don't forget to like and share the content with those you want to see on the other side of this simulation. And with that, I gotta say, thank you to my channel members. We said thank you to my channel members. No diddy when I say member. Thank you to my channel members. Fuck you if you're not a member. Nah, I'm just kidding, but seriously, join. Thank you.